Have you ever really wondered what your city is up to? Not the stuff in the news, but the real, day-to-day work. Well, we've got something that tells that exact story, a list of government bids. And trust me, it's not some boring document. It's more like a city's secret to-do list, or maybe its shopping list. It tells you everything about what a city needs, what it wants, and what it's dreaming about for the future. So let's dive in and see what's really going on.
So what do you think is on the list? Fixing roads? Building a new park? Maybe something a little more out there? Well, this data file we're looking at has all the answers for one specific place, Fredericksburg, Virginia. And by digging into what they're trying to buy, we can get this incredible snapshot of what it actually takes to keep a city running. Okay, first things first, what even is a government bid? It's actually pretty simple. It's how a city gets stuff done. Anytime the city needs something, whether it's a brand new fire truck, a sidewalk repair, or even a consultant to come in and study a problem, it puts out a bid. It's basically a public announcement that says, hey, we need this. Who can do it, and how much will it cost? It's the engine that turns our tax dollars into real, tangible stuff.
So let's start our little tour down the city's shopping aisles. First up, the invisible infrastructure. You know, this is all the stuff you never, ever think about, but you would notice in a second if it broke. It's the absolute bedrock that keeps everything else working. Now, this is where so much of the hard, unglamorous, but totally essential work happens. I mean, look at this list. A pavement rehabilitation program? That's just a fancy way of saying they're declaring war on potholes. A sewer system analysis. Yeah, not exciting, but it's what stops a nightmare scenario of backups in your basement. These projects aren't going to get a big ribbon-cutting ceremony, but they're the city keeping its most basic promise to you, that the water will run and the roads will be drivable.
All right, so once you've got the pipes and the pavement sorted out, you can start focusing on what makes a city a place people actually love to live. So let's move on to the next aisle on our list, creating spaces for the community.
And here's where it gets really fun. You can see the city's personality come out. We've got bids for playground designs, renovating the local pool, and even building an inline hockey rink. But it's not just about play. They're also thinking about their economy, putting out feelers for food trucks in the parks, sprucing up the visitor center, and even hiring photographers to make the city look great online for tourists. It's such a clear sign that a city is so much more than infrastructure, right? It's an active investment in people's happiness. Now here is a perfect little story that shows city planning is almost never a straight line. I'm calling it the saga of the Riverfront Park stage. So back in May of 2023, there's this big bid for a permanent, built-in, cast-in-place concrete stage. A major project. But then you look at the status, and it was canceled. Fast forward a bit, and a whole new bid pops up for the same park. But this time, they want a mobile stage. What happened there? Who knows? Maybe the budget changed, maybe they realized they wanted more flexibility in the park. It's just a fantastic little window into how these grand plans have to adapt to reality. You know, running a city isn't just about fixing today's problems. You have to be thinking about tomorrow's, and the day after that. And that brings us to the really forward-thinking stuff on this to-do list, hiring the experts who can help map out what's next. So what is the city thinking about long-term? This chart gives us a pretty good idea. We see bids going out for these huge, important studies. They're bringing in experts for a homelessness study to tackle a really complex social issue. They're commissioning a water and sewer master plan, which is how you make sure that invisible infrastructure we talked about is ready for the next 50 years. They're even studying the best places to put new fire stations. This is the big picture strategic thinking that you hope your city is doing. And sometimes planning for the future is a little less concrete. This might be one of the most fascinating bids on the whole list. They put in a request for citywide branding services. I mean, why does a city need a brand, right? Well, it's about shaping an identity that can attract new people, new businesses, and visitors. It's the city stepping back and asking itself, who are we really? And who do we want to become? Okay, so we've gone through the whole shopping list, from sewer pipes to logos. What does it all mean when you put it together? Well, the big picture tells us some pretty surprising things about how a city actually works. Take this number, 12. That's how many of the bids we looked at were marked canceled. Now, your first instinct might be to think, wow, that's a lot of failure. But it's actually the exact opposite. It shows a system that's alive, that's flexible. It means priorities changed, or the budget shifted, or maybe someone just came up with a better idea. It's not chaos, it's just the messy, dynamic reality of trying to make the best possible decisions with public money. And just when you think you've got a handle on what a city does,
You find a bid like this one. I have to read this directly from the document. It says the deal is conditioned upon the offeror's commitment to preserve the structure at an appropriate alternate site. What are they talking about? They were selling a historic house. But here's the catch. The buyer couldn't just knock it down. The bid required them to physically pick up the entire house and move it somewhere else to preserve it. It's just an amazing, wild reminder that a city's job is so much bigger and weirder than you could ever imagine.
So from paving roads to literally moving houses, this list gives us such a raw, unfiltered look into the life of a city. It's this beautiful, complicated mix of urgent needs and big, ambitious dreams. And it really just leaves you with one final question. This is what's on Fredericksburg's to-do list. What do you think should be on yours?